different GSTs. You are filing it every taxpayer for a different class of taxpayer. I think it come down. That's my vision, because I could foresee along with Manohar in a journey at one particular place, Chalakere. For 5 years back, one guy was asking me why the invoicing should not be done. We never thought it will come within 5 years. Another 3 years, I think it will be a pan India, or everybody, all transaction, all taxpayers, 1 crore 25 lakh population, no 125 lakh population, what taxpayers are there. If they comply to the e-invoicing, next the credit input tax rate availability and compliance matching, everything become easier, my dear friends. I earnestly request, that's not a big issue at all. I request as a person, not as an officer, the tax practitioners community and the association and everybody, you please ask for this e-invoicing to be made compulsory for everybody. It is not a big thing at all. The reason I'll tell you why it can be made, everybody one can follow. I'll give a small one example. Right now, e-way bill generation, it is mandatory. Those who have a turnover have a value of invoice more than 50,000 rupees. The value of 50,000 rupees, we need a e-way bill. My dear friends, the statistics shows 32% of the e-way bill generation is being done who doesn't have mandatory compliance of doing it at all. Means their value is less than 50,000 of rupees, but still they are generating e-way bill. So what is the big difference between e-way bill and e-invoice? I don't find any big difference in e-way bill and e-invoice. Even in e-way bill, you have a QR code. Even e-invoice, there is a QR code. Both QR codes are there. Only additional in e-invoice is you have an invoice reference number generated by the government portal. Whereas what is the e-way bill difference? Yeah, it has a e-way bill in addition to the invoice details, a vehicle number. So that's all. You have one QR code, having one vehicle number, and having an IRN. That solves all the problems. But only the data is uploaded to the system, the government portal, and the invoice is generated. Even similarly now, e-way bill is generated by through a government portal only. But the total data is through the government portal. Your e-invoice is only data flows through the invoice portal, and only QR code and IRN is generated along with the e-sign. That's all the basic fundamental difference between e-invoice and e-way bill we have. That is the reason I'll tell you, once the NIC Karnataka or NIC India, if they enable the portal for everybody to generate e-invoice like a e-way bill, I think the day is not far. All these kind of different compliances issues are going to be addressed. That's what my belief, and our attitude determines our altitude. And finally, our true actions will come out, and we can make the nation more richer and greater, which I have already seen the last 33 months. If you look at it, the last 3 years, and the December complaints, 1,15,000 crores. And imagine, you may say that, okay, sir, the people who are not paid in the corona period, they might have paid. In spite of all that, I'm trying to, my dear friend, economy is picking up and the GST collection is picking up. It is a major step of 1,15,000 crores what we have collected in the last December. Successfully for the last 3 months, 1 lakh crore and plus we are collecting it. So I should thank the tax practitioners community, CA community, and all cost accountant, taxpayers, everybody making a great contribution for the GST compliances. And I'll not take much time. With this particular short note, I will hand over to Mr. Shreendhran Parthasarathy to further to take the proceedings. And I'll be there in the webinar till the end, and I will see to that any issues from the government side, what to be corrected, and what is the correct thing. What, as I know, since I'm in this particular technology in the past 10 years, from 2010, I can say I'm in this technological field, and I can understand the nuances and the intricacies. Certainly, I'm there for you people, and I'll see to that issues are settled down at the earliest. Thank you. Over to Shreendhran Parthasarathy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful motivation. So, you have remembered us. Government is a lawmaker. Consumer citizen is the taxpayer. Department is a regulator. Trade and industry is a collector. So, the professionals are the facilitators. So, with this, so we welcome you, sir. So, now, so thank you, sir. Thank you. So, Now we have Ashwin Tanna ji here, and he will give just an introduction to Kamal Aggarwal ji.
Kamal Aggarwal ji. Sorry. Kamal Aggarwal ji.
Yes.
Yeah, listening. Okay, sir. I'm audible, no?
Yes, very much.
Now, sir. One minute. Kamal Aggarwal ji. Sir, now I request on the behalf of the Institute of Chartered Practitioner to have your marathon talk. Please,
So
sir.
before that we have BT Manohar sir to, as the observer, give 1 or 2 lines before the beginning of the session.
Manohar sir.
Very good morning to you.
Yes, sir. Please, sir. Please.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning,
And,
sir.
Wish you all happy and prosperous New Year 2021. I congratulate Institute of Tax Practitioners India for organizing this webinar today. And I'm very happy that we have Dr. B.V. Murali Krishna, a leader of taxation in the Department of Commercial Taxes, Government of Karnataka, and a highly learned friend from fraternity, Mr. Kamal Aggarwal, and the most respected Shreendhran among the tax practitioners, whom we call Shankaracharya. Friends, today's webinar is confined to notification 94 regarding some changes that are going to be from yesterday. What are the changes that, other changes also that have come from yesterday? That is 1st January 2021. QRMP program, e-invoicing, ITC availment, e-way bill, and other certain issues. Friends, I represent about 7.5 to 8 lakh dealers in the state of Karnataka as the chairman of the state GST committee of KCCI, which is a state body representing trade, commerce, and industry in our Karnataka since 103 years. The coordination between dealer and the department in Karnataka is a model for the entire country, which I request all other forums and the associations to take up this initiative of coordinating between dealer and the department as tax practitioners, mainly because tax practitioners are the bridge like between dealer and the department. Any dealer who wants registration is already registered. Go to a tax practitioner for service. To avail that service, he is entirely depending on practitioners. So my practitioners fraternity has to be updated with all the updating of reforms, changes that are to be known to them. Institute of Chartered Tax Practitioners has taken this initiative, and we have a learned speaker too. And I was told by Dr. B.V. Murali Krishna that regarding this QRMP scheme, it's an option. It's not mandatory, it's an option. We were asking the central government to provide a quarterly return filing scheme and quarterly payment as we had under sales tax and VAT. As a first step, this QRMP scheme has been given to us, and we have, as in our state especially, about 7,05,000 dealers, small dealers. So each state has to work out on this, and our tax practitioners should see that awareness is given on this QRMP scheme to small dealers to avail that benefit. It's very easy. As of now, as per the law stands, there are 2-3 types: fixed sum method or self-assessment method. You can get in and get out of this scheme easily. You can have a conveniencing flexible invoice filing facility. It's a self-assessment scheme, and so on, for the benefit of small dealers. Friends, as you know, just yesterday, as on yesterday, we had 128 crore dealers registered under GST in our country. I have been given to understand that 94% of such registrants turnover is almost below 7 crores. Almost below 7 crores. So that means to say, all reforms for tax compliance is being attempted to, either by the representation of the trade and industry or by the government itself. Coming back to this notification 94, effective 1st January 2021, they have spoken about registration. They have spoken about input tax credit. They have spoken about returns related issues. And finally, they say e-way bill. We have represented on this issue to the GST Council through our GST GRC, Grievance Redressal Committee, Government of Karnataka, on registration. See, a dealer comes to the department for registration to carry on his business, and there are certain conditions which are very clear, but certain issues empowering the officers for cancellation of registration without an opportunity is one of the issues that is making a registered dealer to feel that somewhere the coordination is not clear. Then regarding this input tax credit, again, Mr. Kamal is going to explain in detail, but the 10%, that means 1% of ITC difference to be paid by cash. We are making clear that it is about 45,000 dealers, but even to 45,000 dealers, certain restrictions take away the concept of GST. Coming to this e-way bill, Mr. Murali Krishna explained from Bangalore to Mysore, it's about 147 kilometers. Sir, the trade and industry, the transporters, the commerce in our country have had a very bitter experience during the past 10 months. We are settling ourselves. We are yet to settle. Our economy has given us 1 crore 15 lakhs in the month of December, and 87 lakh returns have been filed. We doesn't have money to pay late fee. We doesn't have money to pay interest. These are all certain areas of concern to trade and industry, but said and done. The government, the central government and the state governments are doing their best. And we are sure that they take care of all the dealers registered under GST, and they also be very careful about the evaders. This 1 crore 15 lakh 174 crores includes even taxes collected from evaders. That means to say all the areas of registrants under GST has to be taken care. And one more piece of advice to my friends in the fraternity: since you are supporting the taxpayers to update himself, to give compliance to the taxation, please see that if any of the practical difficulties you face in your profession while representing the trade and industry, please bring to the knowledge of the GST GRC of your state. Our state GST GRC, headed by Sri DP Nagendra Kumar sir and Srikar sir, we are being taken into confidence and it is doing very good. We have like glitches in the GST and portal, the problems in the trade and industry, the problems with the government, but everything said and done, we have to pull on. So the CGST department, the CTD department, and the NIC, especially for e-invoicing, we are really grateful to the director of NIC, Mr. P.V. Bhatt, in our state, that he has given us a very clear procedural issues how e-invoicing can be done. And as Murli said, we had one representation in one of the remote places of Karnataka, Challakere district, Challakere place, that one dealer has asked, why can't government itself give the invoicing facility? So we have also suggested to the government to see that e-invoicing is made for a turnover of 50 crores also, so that all these hurdles of verification, return filing, e-way bill, etc. can be eased out. With this, my dear friends, thank you for the opportunity. And I'm very happy that Shreendhar sir has taken this initiative with all his friends connected with Institute of Chartered Tax Practitioners. I, being one among the fraternity, give my best for tax practitioners, government, and the trade and industry. We have to go with all these two people. So God bless you. Take care. Do your best as a practitioner and do help for the development of our economic development of our country and the states concerned. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, B.T. Manohar, sir. Sir, so with this forum, just I want to give one message to our community members. So GST practitioners login has been provided and has been empowered with highest scope of giving the compliance to the taxpayers. So please, please, please log in yourself, active your login and give the compliance so that it can reduce the burden on the GST network to every time using the dealer's login and log out. So a GSTP can serve all the taxpayers in his login without logging out. So this is my humble request. Kindly make use of the facility because none other than the GSTP has been given the rights of compliance to any other professional. So all the GSTPs, I request to kindly assign and work on that login. Thank you. Thank you. So now I request Kamal Aggarwal ji sir to give the flow of the session. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir. This is good morning to all of you and a very, very happy new year. I wish you all and your family members and friends a very good health and lots of friends and happiness. If you have very good health, friends and happiness, prosperity doesn't really matter. So I'm really thankful to the panelists and really I'm so thankful to having Dr. Murali Krishna on the panel. And it is really a wonderful opportunity to share our thoughts with the person who is directly connected with the implementation of GST. Because I'm sure there are several issues that we can present to him, and I'm sure he would take it to the GST Council where those things are being addressed. We have a presumption in the law that the innocent should not be held guilty while guilty can go unpunished. And we have to maintain that mindset. And with that mindset, let me present my talk. Mr. Parthasarathy, I come from a very humble beginning. My father used to run a retail shop in a very small town. And he used to go and he used to always tell you, go in the morning to the shop, clean your shop, do your morning rituals, and then you attend to your customers. I'm sure with many of us, that is the daily routine. And if there is a customer which comes in the meantime, you tell, sir, please wait for 5 minutes. Let me complete my morning rituals, and then I will attend to you. Sir, now with this notification 94/2020, I would say to my practitioners and to the business community that when you go in the morning, after your rituals, after you pray to whosoever you pray, the next job that you have to see, log in your GSTN and ensure that your GST registration is still active. That is you have to do on daily basis every day morning. It may not look nice, it doesn't look nice, it is certainly not nice, but that is the situation that happens. Because particularly the opportunity of being heard has been taken away by Rule 21A. Now, what we say is that this is the most significant amendment, and most of the things that Dr. Murali Krishna has said and Mr. Manohar has said, we have not much of the concern on those issues. The concern really is where there is a suspension of registration without even having an opportunity of being heard. That is the main concern which I want to present to Dr. Murali Krishna and to other panelists, because that is what it lead to. It lead to standstill. It lead to suspension of his business. 21A has been amended. The 21A, what it says, just for benefit of all other viewers, it talks about suspension of your GST registration. Rule 21A say, if your registration is liable to be cancelled under Section 29 or under Rule 21, the proper officer can suspend your registration without giving an opportunity of being heard. And without giving an opportunity of being heard, that has been taken away by this amendment. Now, when your registration is suspended, you cannot raise tax invoice, you cannot issue waybill, your refund also will not be processed. And I would say, because of all these, when you cannot raise a tax invoice, you cannot make a taxable supply, nobody can raise an e-way bill in your favor. This implies that your business comes to a standstill. And how a businessman feels his business to come to a standstill, I think many of us would have seen a movie called Guru, where Abhishek Bachchan was in the lead role. There was a scene where Abhishek Bachchan and there was discussion happening, and he was being targeted that you are a poison, you are doing this, you are doing that, and he was smiling. He was smiling, he was laughing, he was taking all this criticism in a very good stride. But the moment Mithun Chakrabarti told that person that, can you stop him? He became serious. Till that time, you raise you bring him to the news, you defame him, you do whatever. He was not bothered at all. The moment Mithun Chakrabarti said to a person, can you stop him? He became serious. He said, no, you cannot stop me. Stoppage of business is, in my view, is the ultimate to a businessman. And that is protected by Article 301 of our Constitution. Article 301 protects citizens' right to do business. And that right has been taken away by an administrative amendment, not even by a parliament amendment. That is something shocks me. I'm absolutely aware of the concerns of the government, and there are a lot of fake invoicing, and I think fake invoicing itself has several dimensions which we have to address separately. But what I'm saying, that to stop the business, and that too without giving him an opportunity of being heard, is completely drastic. And therefore, it is the duty of the professionals as well as of the businessmen now to look at their registration on a frequent basis to see whether there is any suspension has taken place. Because the reasons for the suspension, they happen in our business on a daily basis. It is not one unique situation which would happen to a business once in a lifetime and somebody can take care of. The situation that has been provided in section 29 and rule 21, they happens with business and they happen for legitimate reasons. And I will deal with all of them one by one. I'm not too much concerned, and I think I'm not even concerned whether there is an Aadhaar registration, okay? The way bill 100 kilometer, 200 kilometer, I'm sure if the trade and industry feel concern that this time limit is short, government will again look at it. All these things can be taken care of, provided we run a businessman to run his business. That is the ultimate thing which I want to present in this webinar. Now, let's look at what are the situations, what are the situations provided in section 29 and rule 20 where a registration can be cancelled, and on those grounds the registration can be suspended without giving opportunity of being heard. Section 29 talks about 4 situations. So one situation is as provided in the rules, so that is rule 21 we'll discuss separately. The second situation is that the person has not filed his returns. So if person is filing quarterly return, he has not filed returns for 3 tax periods. And if somebody is not filing return, he has not filed return for 6 consecutive tax period. And I'm absolutely okay with that. If somebody is not filing his tax returns regularly, the law must take its course. His registration must be cancelled or suspended, and thereafter he should be given an opportunity. There is no doubt about it. There is no ambiguity on this. So there is no concern. If somebody takes a voluntary registration and he doesn't commence his business for 6 months, I think that can be a ground for cancellation of registration, but there could be genuine reasons. It doesn't harm GST officers or the tax administrator to call him and ask, sir, you have not started your business. What is the reason? Do you want registration to continue, or you want registration to suspend, and once you are in a position to commence, you can take registration subsequently again? It doesn't harm. I don't see there is any urgency that you have to suspend his registration without giving him an opportunity of being heard. And let me bring this here, the clarification which has been issued by government. And I think this only the timeline of this notification and the clarification should be used as an evidence to the people who talk about speed at which the government functions. You know, this notification was issued on 22nd of December, late in the afternoon. We only started reading in the late night and all that, because all these GST returns, GST audit and tax audit and income tax return and a lot of things were happening. But on very next day, we had a clarification from the government. So we have not only read that notification by that time, but the government has received representations and they already clarified. So it's a lightning speed at which this clarification was issued. But this clarification clarifies the things. That is what we need to see. Because on this suspension, without giving an opportunity being heard, the government says it is not going to happen in a routine matter. It is going to happen only in the cases where urgency is required. The people are passing input tax credit and not filing return, and they are likely to be vanished. Absolutely no disargument, no ambiguity on that. But have you provided that in the rules? is it made a ground for a proper officer to suspend registration? Answer is no. The rule is absolutely omnibus. It says if he has reason to believe, and it doesn't say that reason to believe that assessee is going to be vanished. You only say if he has reasons to believe that his registration is liable to be cancelled, he can suspend without giving an opportunity of being heard. That is huge power. And we've seen how these powers are being used. I just come across a case where a consultant had by mistakenly, he applied for cancellation. Okay, there was an error, or a consultant or a part of his team member or something, he applied for cancellation on 6th of a particular month. The proper officer readily obliged, and his registration was cancelled on very next day on 7th. The moment registration was cancelled, the people realized their mistake and they apply on very next working day, given that Saturday, Sunday, on next working day, they applied for revocation. He said, sir, we made a mistake. We applied for cancellation. We have no intention to cancel, but so it has been done. Kindly revoke our cancellation. We want to do business. We are a running company. Now, there is no reason for belief, or there was no action initiated by the proper officer. But you know what? It took 3 reminders by the assessee and a high court judgment. He has to ultimately go to a high court to say, in spite of my 3 reminders, the proper officer has not restored my registration. So there was no reason. He applied by mistake. Anybody can make mistake. He approached the officer thrice, but ultimately only High Court has to pass an order. And how many people in this country, Mr. Manohar has said he represents large number of small taxpayers. I would request him to look at what is the percentage of those taxpayers who have ability to reach a High Court in such situation. That is where the worry is coming in. Now, last condition or situation in section 29 is where a registration has been obtained by reason of fraud or willful misstatement of fact or suppression of facts. I don't think I can argue against it. If some registration has been obtained by way of fraud or willful misstatement or suppression, by all means, his registration should be suspended. I don't care about opportunity of being heard in that situation. Absolutely no issue. But there are the genuine business issues. Now let's look at Rule 21. Now Rule 21 provides 7 situations. And that is absolutely a shocking case has come to us last week here in Gurgaon. And I'm sure many of us would have read it. It says where an assessee is found to be not operating from the place of business is registered. Okay. Now, what happened if that person has shifted his business yesterday? Rule 19 provides you 15 days to apply for amendment of the registration. If some client comes to me, he says, sir, I'm shifting from place A to place B. What should I do? Is there a restriction? I said, no, boss. You are free to move to a better place and get to a bigger showroom so that your business increases, so that my fees also increases, and so that the government revenue also increases. By all means, please shift. And I said, I tell to my staff, okay, ensure that this application for amendment is done before 15 days. So let's target 10 days. In 10 working days, we should be able to file his registration. Please careful about it. Now on 7th day, let's say there is an inspection of section 67 happening in his neighborhood, or for some reason, some inspector, some department guy, he reaches that premises, he says that, oh my God, this office is closed, the showroom is closed, and there is no application. So he says, look at, okay, registration still shows this address. He is not existent. It is a perfect case for cancellation provided under Rule 21. Okay, so suspend his registration without, and there is no need for us to give any opportunity, suspend his registration. What is the fault of the SSC? And what is the protection that we have against it? This case has happened in relation to a company which was promoted by Amazon and Mr. Narayan Murthy. Can you imagine Mr. Narayan Murthy? I'm sure many of us, and to me personally, he is one of the most respected businessman and human being in this country. I respect him more as a professional, as a mentor. I have no words to actually say anything to him. But to suspend a registration of a company promoted by him because it was not existent. Now, government has issued clarification, but they didn't say that the 15 days was over. We do not know. My request to Dr. Murli is that kindly have those protection where you have a reason, where you have an opportunity of 15 days. Now, so what is the harm in giving him an opportunity of being heard? You have a concern that some fraudulent people, they may pass on the input tax credit. Absolutely fine. Block his GSTR 1, which also leads to our amendment in Rule 59.5. We'll come to talk about it in a bit. But suspending the registration whereby stalling his business is, I think, is going too far. Then we talk about there is no means for him to go. There would be a certificate would be issued for giving him an opportunity. Opportunity is for cancellation, not for suspension. Then he would be given a 7 days time to explain that why your registration should not be cancelled. Until that time, his registration would remain in suspension animation or suspension mode. Now, what if a proper officer doesn't find time to issue that notice? There is no requirement. Once the notice is issued, the SSC has 7 days time to respond. But there is no time limit that he has to issue a notice for cancellation so that a person can come and explain. And there is no mechanism that he would get an intimation by an email or by SMS or by any means. So that is where I have to say that you need to check your registration every now and then, particularly if you are shifting your business, you are absolutely at risk. So these kind of situations, we are worried. Now, next issue is that where a person is supplying goods or services or both, raising invoice without corresponding supply of goods or services or both, which is kind of our fake invoice. I would think that that is still a valid ground for suspension, although I would still think in those cases also. Now, it is not a person is completely doing that activity only. And I have my suggestions, which I would request if you can send to Dr. Murli separately, that I have seen companies, it is not the case of the department, that all fake invoices are being raised by fly-by-night operators. There are, we know, circular trading. There may be a company having 500 crore, 700 crore turnover. they have done a transaction of 10 crore, 5 crore, 50 lakh, whatever is of a fake invoice or a circular trading. They should have done? No, absolutely not. They should not have done that. Absolutely no doubt about it. But having done that and it's detected, they are all liable for those penalties and prosecution, whatever law has to take place. But for the remaining part of the business, which constitute 99%, we suspend the registration, we stall. So are we not prescribing murder for a kind of punishment of a murder to a thief? That is what I'm saying. Next is very surprising. I'm amazed at the next clause. Says if there is a violation of section 171 or rules made thereunder. Now, section 171, we all know, is anti-profiteering. Anti-profiteering, we know, sir, we have a national anti-profiteering body. There is an entire set of rules formulated into that. And that authority is absolutely visible, is taking decisions, is penalizing large companies wherever it founds. And there are huge amount of cases that is happening day in, day out. The authority has absolute power to recommend for cancellation of registration. Authority can cancel the registration. Absolutely fine. But to give a power to the proper officer in such cases, which is not even requiring a recommendation by the authority. So what are we saying? A specialized authority investigated the case. They looked into things and they decided, yes, it's a fit case for levy of penalty. Yet they have decided not to cancel the registration. And that is what we have a specialized authority. We constituted that. Perfect. But we are simultaneously giving parallel power to a proper officer to suspend registration without hearing and to cancel subsequently if he is not satisfied. Why are we giving parallel powers? Such a high powered authority has the power. Let that authority exercise its power. Or if you want proper officer to exercise the power, that should be based on a recommendation by the authority. That is where I believe there would be some amendment, some protection should be given to a business, because anti-profiteering rules do not only apply to large companies, they apply to the traders also. And even in the case of large company, a company might have hundreds and thousands of products. There can be an issue in relation to only one product. And National Anti-Profiteering Authority has imposed penalty for that. So that is where the parallel power that should be given with some protection. Another amendment has been done. Many people have done this, that when you registered, you give a bank account or you do not provide the bank account aid. So if the proper officer does not have the bank account detail, how he can enforce the law? And that is a very valid ground. So if he has not, you do not have a bank account detail, you are not given the bank account detail, you are not complying with the law, you are not submitting your details to the proper officer. Okay. By all means, his registration should be suspended. And if he is found to be non-existent, he should be even be cancelled. There is no doubt about it. And to that extent, the notification has actually given it has this positive impact, because we all also must understand that everybody who is doing GST compliance in a fraudulent way, he is eating share of an honest taxpayer. All the loss of revenue by these fraudsters it is not a loss of revenue for the government. It is loss of revenue for me. Because ultimately, if government has to collect 1 lakh crore, it will correct 1 lakh crore. It will try to enforce. It will try to catch hold of those violators. But if to that extent, the government needs cash on a daily basis, so it will be recovered from me also till that time. So while we say that honest taxpayers has to be protected, small taxpayers has to be protected, by all means, the fraudulents must be catch hold of, and they must be punished to the highest extent of the law. There's no doubt about it. And to that extent, I would think that the protection, that the restriction that has been imposed in availing of ITC, in utilizing of ITC, to a good extent, I would agree with them. But there are certain situations, and I would come on that. Probably we can align or retweak certain provisions where look at the rule 36(4). Now you say you have an input tax credit, and as Dr. Murali Krishnan rightly said, if the all taxpayers are properly filing their invoicing, there is no need for government to put any restrictions. And I would agree, because I myself has advised many clients that even if e-way bill is not required, there is a consignment value below 50,000. Even if you are not compliant, let's raise e-way bill for all your transactions, so that you don't have to go into reconciliation, whether it was required, it was not required, all of that. Okay, this is welcome step. Many of my clients, even if they were not under 500 crore, they implemented e-invoicing on a voluntary basis. So those things have been complied with. Rule 36(4), Rule 59(5), I would think they are steps in the right direction. The verification of on Aadhaar basis, verification, the KYC, and yesterday only on one of our groups, there was a discussion happening that somebody obtained a registration on the name of a chartered accountant at some remote place, and he is passing a lot of input tax credit just by raising invoice. Absolutely, those things must be stopped. And these amendments in Rule 36(4) and 59(5), they are step in right direction. And I would also agree, I would salute this amendment or this practice of the department where your GST data is coming in your 26 AS. Because if somebody has taken registration in my name and he is raising invoices, I cannot find how somebody has taken in all of the country. But if it's coming in 26 AS, I can immediately catch it. Oh my God, somebody has taken registration in my name, and therefore he should be caught off. So there are great features which have strengthened the registration process. There are features that if somebody is not filing return, his way bill should be stopped. Absolutely agree that until the time you make his life difficult, you make his dispatches difficult. And if somebody is not filing 3B, is only filing GSTR1, because that is a demand which we only made. We recommended to the government that if somebody is filing GSTR1 and not filing 3B, is not giving revenue to the government, his ability to pass input tax credit must be stopped. And I'm thankful to GSTN that these amendments have been taken care of. That absolutely will go a long way in restricting this practice of fake invoicing and fraudulent transaction or fraudsters. Absolutely agree with them. My concern is the one small omission on Rule 21A, where they say we will suspend without giving you an opportunity of being heard, because that can be invoked in many cases where there are genuine business reasons, which are also permitted in the law. That is where I believe some protection should be given. Now, look at, sir, we live in Delhi, and people in Delhi would know, and there are markets in all over the country, I believe. Many people will small towns, they go to the wholesale markets, like we have Chandni Chowk markets here. They would come to and they would look for stuff. Somebody is come, he want to buy some stuff. He would go for many shops. He doesn't know from here where he is going to buy. He would go for many shops. Wherever he is find product, he will buy that product, and he will go home after paying. He will pay, okay, this is the amount I am paying to you, and you raise an invoice. He raised an e-invoice, he generated an e-way bill, and the person goes away. The material reaches him, but when he look at his 2A, he looks at that his name is not appearing, and he was not able to take credit. The one small fellow living 200, 300 kilometers away from Delhi, he has no mean to force that wholesaler as a big guy that to ensure that he gets the credit. Now, if there is a variation, if your turnover if he doesn't file his returns, if there is a turnover in 3B, GSTR 1 is more than 3B, okay, the input tax credit can be blocked or his registration can be suspended. So those are the measures that has been very right. They will go a long way in protecting the small taxpayers. On the other hand, the provisions which I have mentioned earlier, and we can go little further, those are the where I believe the opportunity of being heard that should have been given. Now let's look at this unique situation which has been created by another amendment which says that if he avails input tax credit in violation of section 16 or rules made thereunder. My humble submission is, this is not an area where it can be decided in a suspension or rejection proceedings. We have numerous debatable areas in section 16 or rules made thereunder. They would be subject matter of adjudication. Now, imagine, sir, if he suspends his registration because he has reasons to believe, fine. The assessee gives in submission that no, sir, I have not violated section 16. Fine. And what is the dilemma with him now? If he agrees that you have not violated section 16 and he restores his registration, he cannot issue a show cause notice tomorrow after doing a detailed investigation, which legitimately he must do. Now, if he says, no, I do not agree, and still continue with suspension or ultimately cancels the registration, because this opportunity of 7 days, more often than not, is not sufficient to adjudicate those kind of issues. So that is where some flexibility has to be incorporated. We must suspend registration where there are genuine issues, where we are cash holding fraudulent, like somebody is running away. There are reasons that he is not there. If he is not there, give him a notice, find out whether he has shifted yesterday. And if he is not responding, absolutely cancel him. So restrict all that. The ability to, I would say, block his filing of GSTR 1 when somebody is not filed his GSTR 3B for 2 months is an absolute step in absolute welcome direction. There's no doubt about it. If we go a little further, sir, again, what says that if your turnover is GSTR 1 is higher in as compared to GSTR 3B. There could be reasons which are valid, which should go for cancellation or suspension, or I would not say cancellation. I would say there are cases where they should be investigated and it should be imposed with a tax and a penalty. But only a reason for difference, should that lead to a suspension without hearing him? That is the question. Because there could be reason, GST law itself allows me to do any correction up till the return filed in the September of the following year. If we are able to, we missed one invoice, let's say in one of the return, there is a credit note which I missed in one of the return. So should I be allowed to do it? Yes, I should be allowed to do it. And I was asked a question during the discussion prior to this, and I would say yes. If there is a situation which could lead to, which is covered in instances in section 29 or in rule 21, I would suggest that please file a letter with your proper officer appraising him, sir, I'm going to file a return, or I'm going to shift my place. I will file an application within 15 days, but I'm giving you a pre-notice so that you are fully comfortable. You know that I'm not violating the law, but I'm giving you a advance notice. I'm giving you advance submission that yes, I'm doing this for genuine reasons. I think we have to follow that kind of practice, that if there is any such situation, we brief the proper officer, we brief the GST officer and tell him that this is not a situation which is covered in rule 21 or section 29. Technically it is covered, but these are my reasons. So instead of you waiting for him to call, we have to kind of go upfront and address these kind of issues. Now, another last point is in this is violative of Rule 86B. Rule 86B has also been introduced by this amendment. Rule 86B says that wherever there are people who have monthly turnover in excess of 50 lakhs, they are required to pay 1% tax in cash. And there are a number of exceptions that has been provided. So this is, I would say, a very thoughtful step, and the exceptions are even more thoughtful, because most of these people who are issuing fake invoices, they were not paying any tax at cash at all. It is very welcome way, I would say, to identify those, separate and catch hold of them. Because even if paying 1% tax in cash, that would restrict them to circular trading, to fake invoicing. And exceptions have been provided that if you are paid income tax of 1 lakh rupee or more in last 2 years, or even your director has paid, or any of your partner has paid, or your cash payment is in excess of 1% during this financial year, you are not required to follow that law. Absolutely. If somebody is doing a good business, definitely his cash payment would be more than 1%. Of course, subject to some exceptional circumstances where he has done huge amount of capex in last 6 months. There is a huge amount of input tax credit on capital goods. Those kind of situations could lead to an impression in the minds of proper officer that he is not paying 1% tax. I would again come back to the same suggestion that please go to your proper officer, file him a letter, attach the your requirements, attach your submissions that, sir, I have made this kind of capex in the last, my business is completely on imported goods. I have lot of input tax credit which has been covered in trans 1, And these are the reasons for which I will not be able to pay cash of 1% or more. And therefore, I'm giving you an updated intimation in this one. But my belief is the exceptions carved out in Rule 86B would cover most of the genuine taxpayer. It is, and wherever there are genuine taxpayers, they feel state, there could be a person who is suffering loss in the business. Lot of hotel industry today is in loss. Lot of industries in this pandemic has suffered a loss. But before that, if they were in profit, they have paid income tax of 1 lakh rupee or more, they would be covered by the exceptions. But the moment you are not covered in exception and still you are a genuine taxpayer, nothing stops you from taking a step forward and intimating your proper officer that these are the reasons, and that should be it, take care of it. So there are positive features and there are features which looks very challenging, look very omnibus powers granted to officers. Now the onus is shifted from officers to the taxpayers. So we must ensure we have additional responsibility of educating our taxpayers that if any of these situations is happening, we must update, we must inform, we must file a letter to the proper officer that this situation is going to happen. It could lead to an impression that my registration is liable to cancellation and therefore you could have suspended it. But sir, these are my reasons. And on the basis of these reasons, you actually believe that I'm a genuine taxpayer and you would refrain from suspending my registration. I think that is one way where a taxpayer and the tax consultant, they can prevent any kind of such kind of situation. I would have loved that if the intention of the government that all these actions will be taken up by big database analytical by on the basis of like in anti-profiteering authority, it comes on the recommendation of the authority, that should have been incorporated in the rules. Where there are specific provisions, they should have been incorporated in the rules. I would have loved to see that. And I still believe that Dr. Murli can look at it, that if those are possible, particularly in case of anti-profiteering authority. If somebody is violating of section 171, that has been investigated by an authority, I see no harm in giving him an opportunity, even if we have to give a parallel power to that person. So those kind of stuff, we should take care of it. Then we say that restriction on availing of input tax credit. Now, why we go for 105% or 110%? Actually, that has never been the case. The input tax credit is always should be availed. What is credit is available with you on the basis of books of accounts, on the basis of input you've taken, received the goods or services and made the entry in your books of accounts. You avail credit in your books of accounts. That credit should go to 3B. Now, when the 2A was introduced, and this is not a new provision, this provision is in existence in Delhi, this provision in existence in Maharashtra and several other states from the VAT regime, that if the supplier has not filed a return, not transmitted credit to you, you are not allowed to take credit. There are several decisions of various high courts. Now, that when supplier and buyer, they are not colluded, they are not found to be hand in glove with each other, the input tax credit should not be denied. There is a principle that if somebody is not, should not be penalized for no fault of him, because he is not at fault. Now, how government can protect that? there is a huge amount of taxpayer base we have in this country. I take it in a way that government has put some burden on the taxpayers also, that you reconcile your 2A. We are giving you a data of your supplier in 2A on a regular basis. Please reconcile it, and therefore restrict availing of credit only to the extent of credit is available in 2A. If credit is not available in 2A, please talk to your supplier and ensure that he files the return. You speak to him and he files the return, and credit will become eligible. So that is where some burden has been casted onto the taxpayer as well. And this is how the original scheme of GST was incorporated. There was given 1 month window that if you go to the supplier, ask him to correct his return. If next month it doesn't come, that it will become part of your output tax liability in the very next month. That was all in the scheme of the act from beginning. Those provisions were not incorporated yet. Instead, government has introduced this 2A. The 2A also serves the same purpose. Only problem is where there is a huge amount of disconnect between the size and the stature of the supplier and size and stature of the buyer. If a dealer is a large dealer, he can talk to large company, probably the company will listen to him. But what happens if a small taxpayer having a turnover, let's say 50 lakh, 60 lakh, 1 crore, 2 crore, he is buying goods from a large wholesaler, and that large wholesaler doesn't listen. Where does that poor fellow will go? Those kind of situations, I think government can look at that. These are the situations where a taxpayer can genuinely produce his documents that I have actually received the goods and services. I have made payment to that person, but he is a too big taxpayer. And I do not have any control to enforce his payment of tax. And that was the spirit of a press release that came somewhere in the past, where government has said that we will go to the supplier, and only in extreme cases where supplier is found to be non-existent, we'll come after the buyer. But the first point of call for for the government should be to go to supplier, and you protect him, give some window to this fellow that he also talks. But otherwise, do I have an opportunity today that if my supplier has not uploaded the invoice, let's say I purchase computers from HP or from Dell or from any large company, and they do not upload my data in the 2A, do I have ability to take them to the task? What if my GST authorities give me a window that, okay, I raise my grievance to them that, sir, I have purchased this, these are my invoices, these are waybills, and these are the things, this is the name of the vendor, kindly take to him. But kindly allow me, because I do not have enough cash, I do not have enough profitable business, so that I pay 18% tax to my vendor and I pay 18% tax to the government also. I do not have that kind of means. If I have to do that, probably my business will come to a standstill. So those kind of situations we need to take care. And in slightly amending these rules to take care of the grievances of the genuine taxpayers, that should be taken care of by either amending the rules or by issuing a proper circular. I think I will not go too much into this increasing the limit of 100 crore or 200 crore on one day, because that is believed, because I personally, I believe there's a lot of improvement that has taken place in road infrastructure in this country. Maybe 100 kilometer was found to be too less by the government. It has increased to 200 kilometer per day. I believe there may be some flexibility that can be given in that situation, where somebody can demonstrate that there was genuine reasons and transporters are able to communicate, taxpayer can always go and extend that validity, and that can be taken care of. So those are not too much of the concern. My concern probably was on the provisions where the business of a taxpayer can come to a standstill. I think I leave my talk on that point. Over to Dr. Parthasarathy.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now I request BT Manohar, sir, the session observer, to kindly deliver his observations. BT Manohar, sir. BT Manohar, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sridhar. And I thank Mr. Kamalji for his concern referring with recent notification. Yes, as he said, protection to small dealers and an opportunity of being heard. Where in certain cases where opportunity cannot be given, he should not be denied with his genuine claim of input tax credit. These are all the certain areas of concern that has been not spelled out in the notification, but said and done. The protection to small dealers, not only small dealers, but all dealers who are genuine. It's a duty of the government to do so. And we represent. We have certain of the issues that referred by Mr. Kamalji has already been represented to our GST GRCs here, through whom it goes to the GST Council. And we are very clear on one issue where he said regarding shifting of business, the intimation to be given within 15 days. If there happens to be some visit by the proper officer to the area and to particular to the business concerned, and the intimation, cancellation of registration is totally uncalled for. It should not be. So when there is a time limit provided, the proper officer also should make all his efforts to locate. Because he has email ID, he has mobile numbers. So there should be some effort by the proper tax officer also to locate and see that if it is in frame of law, he should be given an opportunity of hearing and again see that he is protected with these issues. Kamalji was very clear on issues of Rule 36(4), and he has touched on this 86B. These are all certain things that it has yet to be digested by the taxpayers, and the tax practitioners should be very clear with their clients, and they should make an proper representation to the government also through the associations to see that taxpayers are protected in such a way that they should be voluntarily complying to this. A piece of advice to all taxpayers: please see that your tax compliance has to be in time. Do support by giving proper information and the required information to tax consultants, tax practitioners, chartered accountants, and tax professionals of your business to file their returns in time and make their service also to be in time for you. Mr. Kamalji, your concern for small dealers is very clear to me, and I acknowledge that a proper representation on this issue will certainly support the taxpayers, especially the small dealers. As I told you, there are more than 90 to 94 lakh small dealers, turnover below 7 crores. Mr. Sridhar sir, after hearing from Dr. Murali and Mr. Kamal, I am very clear that you can frame your representation on these issues, and FKCCI will certainly acknowledge and support from Karnataka to forward these suggestions for the betterment of all concerned. God bless you. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Guruji. Sir, now to Dr. Murali Krishna, sir. Session chairman. Murali
Yeah,
Krishna,
good
sir.
afternoon. Yeah, the Kamal Aggarwal presented very well the what the ground realities and what is the practical issues the taxpayers are facing, and with the changing law, how the technology is not able to cope up to that particular activities. And certainly, it's a eye opener. Such webinars should be conducted quite often, and not only me, like me, and several other state government officials and the central officials are be part of the webinar. I think at that time it will make them to aware where is the field activity.
Sir, you are not audible, and also video is not on.
सर को अनम्यूट करने बोलिए, वीडियो तो आया.
Actually, in that sense,
I think you have lost the connection mostly.
Hello.
Murali Krishna sir might have lost the connection, I think, because of some maybe some technical issue, I think. Okay. So whenever sir is back, we will take it back. Now I request Vivek Vyas to present a small demo on host books, the entire business solutions. So then we will take up question and answers. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Shreendhran sir. Good afternoon, all of you, and a happy new year also. I am showcasing our product HB invoicing. First of all, our website Hostbooks. So Hostbook is a Gurgaon-based company, and we are also providing services of accounts, GST, TDS, e-way bill, income tax, and point of sale services all over India. Along with India, we are also providing services in US. In the US, we are providing services of HB accounts and HB payroll. Hostbook is a cloud-based application. You can access this application from anytime, anywhere, and you can also access with your mobile phone, with your laptop, or with any devices. Okay, and we are also providing 24/6 service support. So don't need to worry. You can call anytime to service and for support. So today I'm showcasing our invoice module. So we are providing three type of customized e-invoicing module. Like if customers using Tally, okay. So we had developed our TDL file for Tally Time or for Tally ERP9. So we had customized your Tally, and you can directly generate your e-invoice from Tally. First one solution for Tally one, and second one if customer using any ERP solutions like SAP or any other ERPs. So we are providing APIs for ERP customization. So customer can directly generate his e-invoice through his ERPs. Third one, we are also providing HB invoicing module, so he can directly generate his e-invoice through our hostbook HB GST module. So I am showcasing our HB Tally integration part. So here is a Tally Prime application. I am raising an invoice. I'm normally raising a sales invoice. If a customer want to also generate his e-way bill along with this invoice, so we are also providing a e-way bill TTL also. Customer need to fulfill the details of transporter or vehicle number. After that, he need to save this invoice. Before saving, it will pop up of a generate IRN for this invoice. Yes. If you want to generate IRN for this invoice, you can press yes. If you don't want to generate, or you want to generate bulk invoices. So I'm pressing yes. Within a seconds, you see IRN for this invoice is generated successfully. After that, you can also see in print your QR code. This is print preview of invoice along with QR code and IRN number. If customer don't want to generate invoice on a single level, if he wants to generate on a bulk level, so we are also providing bulk IRN generation directly through Tally. So we are giving option to generate bulk. There is an option of generate bulk IRN. So customer can directly generate multiple IRN for invoices in a single click. Also, if he wants to cancel any of invoices, he can directly cancel his invoice from here. So this is our overall Tally customization portion. Okay, if customer customer are using any other ERP's application or any other accounting application, we can also providing Excel tool to import his all sales invoice in our HBGST module, and he can generate his invoice in a single click directly through our HBGST module. If a customer using any ERP applications, so we are ready to implement, or we are ready to provide our APIs to consume, and he can directly generate his invoices through his ERPs. This is overall our HP e-invoice module. Thank you so much, Shreendhar sir. Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Sir.
Now, I think Murali Krishna sir has lost the connection. I have also contacted. Kamal sir, shall we take the question and answer session now, sir?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, first we will take it from the chat box. Okay. Sir. Sir. सर वैस सर वो आप स्क्रीन ये कीजिए ना सर.
Yes, yes. Done, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, Captain Thomas Kurian has asked one question. Kamal Aggarwal, sir, is my voice audible?
Absolutely, sir.
Sir.
Loud and clear.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you. Kindly let us know the e-way bill validity for containers having one leg is by ship as per notification number 9420.
No, there is no amendment in 9420 particularly for this. So the amendment is only with respect to where it was one day was 100 kilometer per day. It has been 200 kilometer per day. There are other provisions which are of oversized cargo and other stuff that are separate from this notification. But this notification is talking only in respect of extending this timeline.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, the next question asked is by KV Srinivasa. Officer do not accept the letter as rejected to accept such letter. What to do?
I am joining the meeting. I am on.
Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, welcome back, sir. Welcome back, sir.
To enable it.
Yes, yes, yes. Dear host, kindly enable sir's video, please.
Can I answer Kamal that particular question?
Please,
in fact, I read that particular in the chat box. Okay, see, the question is that they have given the letter, that it's a rejected letter, whatever it is, the answer is the officer has not acted upon. See, I'll tell this particular thing to each and every stakeholder in the tax practitioners. Always there is an hierarchy. I know how different, say, the five fingers of a hand is not unique. They're not equal or right and all that. In that particular case, I can understand there are good officers, there are bad officers, there are mediocre officers, all kind of sorts of people are there. Why I'm trying to stress upon this, there is always a way to approach the next level officer. Say, for example, first level is a commercial tax officer. Next is a deputy commissioner. Next is a joint commissioner. Next is additional commissioner. Next is a commissioner. See, before flying to the commissioner, there is a different level altogether. The same day we can fly, we can get the addressal. Just because they have not taken the letter cognizance and all that, don't stop at that particular level. Then even the department comes to know how the people and how the officers are responding to the taxpayers. We also can take measures and to solve such issues.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, you can on your video, sir. Okay.
Trying to do. Yeah, now it's on. Okay.
Sir.
I think we can request Murali Krishnan sir to complete his talk.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you couldn't hear at the time?
Yes, sir. Your connection was lost, sir.
Okay. See, what actually I spoke at that particular time, if I can reconnect to my thoughts, whatever I said, the Kamal Aggarwal has given a very good illustration and issues about the practical difficulties what the taxpayers and the stakeholders have day in day out they're having the particular issue. And particularly when you said about Nanmurthy's concern, and even for such people, if that kind of is happening, whatever the common man who are actually they're struggling to do that, basically as you do, whatever the taxation is, the law is put in place and everything is put in place, only to get whatever the tax has been collected and remitted to the state, nothing beyond it. So we as a stack administrator, the enforcement officials, we should have our eyes and ears should be quite open and to look into that what actually is happening. It's good that Kamal has flagged such issues in this particular webinar also. In connecting with whatever the recent laws, the amendment has happened. We are with you, Kamal Aggarwal, sir. Particularly two things you mentioned, like opportunity of being heard and the personal hearing. They are the basic tenets of any jurisprudence. Without the personal hearing and the, in fact, as a speaker, I have spoken quite a lot from the last 10 years. If I can start my first speeches in 2005, till date, whether it's offline or online, I ever spoke with all the forms like the CA Institute or CME, whichever the institute I have spoken. One of my speech on the role of an assessing authority is still on the web. What I spoke 10 years back. What I'm trying to tell you, that's what quite often I'll tell each and every officer in the state, in my department, and wherever I go, I'll say, see, whenever there is a letter comes to a reply to on the table, you please see the last line. The last line, what actually they say, if you're not convinced about this particular reply, you please give us a personal hearing. That will be the last line of any letter which I have come across in the last 10 years when I was an audit officer. That's what I stress upon that. See, even on that particular letter itself, you give me an endorsement saying that, okay, you can take 3 days or 4 days, which is the particular time. Means to say, based on just not giving time for the particular taxpayer, we have lost good amount of cases in the litigation, which has come back to the litigation once again. It's once again going round and round and round and round. End of the day, nothing will going to get a result. Let it be a bad order. That doesn't match up. Let it be a bad order. Whatever it is, you please take his issues and discuss it on merits. There should be a speaking order. That's what always they say. It's a really good thing. In fact, I reiterate the same thing to my officers whenever it is. Any issues of such concern of the state, I can vouch as a Karnataka State Additional Commissioner for the SGST. You please flag, and I think Parthasarathy, the Manohar, each and everybody who are associated with me, with all the association, they address at the first level, the second level, nothing happens, immediately I'll get an SMS. Once I get a text, means to say that issue is zeroed down, and such issues are not getting repeated. I certainly accept all your valuable practical suggestions, Mr. Kamal, and we'll look into that. That's not a problem, and I'm always with you. You can take my number. For that, you can certainly flag. We'll see to that taxpayers does the business. His business only to do the business and collect taxes to remit to us. We are there to see to solve their issues whenever. In that sense, I should really appreciate Kamal's eagerness as coming from a small village and a small shop. And I know Even the growth also, our small steps also is like that. Always, that's what I always feel. Yes, there's an opportunity. Let us deliver the best. I thank you, Kamal, for the good webinar delivery. And which are the questions and are they? Certainly, what best we knowledge, certainly we'll share and we'll propagate to the taxpayers.
It's so nice
Thank
to
you, sir.
hear, Dr. Murli. So nice to hear such positive words coming from such a learned person. And I'm sure, because I believe is the best law is as closest to the ground reality. That is the best chance of smooth implementation.
Sure.
Most of the taxpayers, as we all agree, are honest. They want to do, and they believe that payment of tax is a service to the nation.
True.
There is no doubt about it. And that you also appreciate, sir, more than 90% tax payment, either direct or indirect tax, they are voluntary.
Exactly.
So that shows, that goes into, but as you said, all five fingers are not common. My only point was to just have a opportunity of redressal. So somebody can think that he can be heard.
Certainly, sir. We are with you. Always we are with you. And I am for to do that ease of doing business reaches each and everybody. Okay?
Absolutely. Great, sir.
Yeah, we have
Thank
proved,
you,
in
sir.
fact, in the state of Karnataka, I think Parthasarathy can endorse it. Our e-governance compliance in the state of Karnataka is 100%. It has been tested and merited by the third party only. It's not any state government has given the certificate. That's our level of compliance and competence in the state. And we are doing our best what we can do it. Yeah.
Yes, I can say, sir, that Karnataka administration is one of the better ones. And
Role model, sir. Many states
Yes,
are
absolutely.
following the footsteps.
Yes. And Dr. Murli, I'm not sure if you know, Mr. Najib Shah, who was the chairman of CBIC when the GST was implemented.
Yeah.
He resides in Bangalore only.
Okay.
Okay.
Anytime if you just drop in, please do let us catch up for a cup of coffee, sir.
Sure,
Okay?
sir. Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So Murali Krishna sir is telling, so what kind of bad orders it may be, because in all these days it is offline. Now the faceless will give you any orders, any representations or any replies and anything will be now faceless, that it will be made available on the system. So how bad the dealer, how bad other will be totally transparent. That's what I believe. Sir.
Just I want to share another thing here. I think everyone might have seen on the Tax Guru or the TaxScan websites. We already rolled out audit scheme in Karnataka. It's a faceless, means to say like electronical, this is called e-Shodhane. In fact, we put up one very good control mechanism for the offices this time. Though there are so many cases been allocated in the risk baskets, but they can't take the cases beyond 20 cases at a time. Even if they take 20 cases at a time, and they can't, unless until they finish a particular case, another case will not come into the login. That's a control we have maintained so to that, and unnecessary, because any only risk-based, which are really worth it, they should be able to take it. Not that they are not supposed to take an audit. I think it is already in the public domain. We are monitoring that. We are trying to do that kind of a what I can say, compliance to come from the particular offices, and easy to monitor also for the department. Because with our experience in the last EFS CAS module, we brought that kind of a checks and balances to the audit process also. Even once the audit report is finalized, only if there is a demand unpaid, it is not a true demand. It's an audit report under section 65, which can be resolved in front of the officer, then the taxpayer himself. Only if there is a litigation, if there is an issue is unsolved, then we'll take it up for 73-74 as a separate process, not going directly to the transaction. So we have clearly bifurcated with our experience in the past 10 years. I thought let me share that also with you people, so that how we are moving towards to have a diligent method of audit in the SGST administration.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Very kind of you. Sir, shall we take the question and answer,
sure,
sir?
Sure.
Chairman, sir. Sir, Rajkumar has asked one question. Taxpayers will face working capital issue because of 5% limitation. They cannot purchase goods, get service from taxpayers who files monthly, or sometimes they have to depend quarterly filing supplies. Government has to think about the 5%. EOD government is thinking revenue.
See, I can answer for that. If you look at that particular 36(4) amendment from the last 2 years, I don't go to the timeline. Earlier it was 20%, then it passed to 10%, now it has brought to 5%. See, that itself is a big change and takeaway from the government perspective to say that, okay, we should not hold back certain amount of money to be the taxpayer. See, basic premise, as Kamal was also addressing on that particular basic premise of a GST, basically, it's a joint relationship, co-joint relationship with the buyer and the seller. Yes, we may have issues. Say, when I have paid the taxes, when I have given the money, when I have taken the invoices, when we have taken the goods, and when we have taken the services, just because the supplier has not uploaded, supplier has not paid the taxes, why you are going to penalize us? Let me be very clear, my dear friends. I'm being the e-governance in the past 5-6 years. I know the pain for the field also for the officials also. My request was that's what I was trying to tell you, whether you're a quarterly filer or a monthly filer. But end of the day, GST 1 has to be filed. The reason is that, see, we are looking at it, at least invoice, what he has raised, it has been uploaded to the system. Once it is uploaded, automatically you will get a 2A. That's nothing but your input tax credit. See, we are always, from the time, the beginning one, we are trying to tell that, why can't you upload? I'll tell you one example in state of Karnataka. See, it's not that because I'm from state of Karnataka, I'm trying to tell you. I think even Shreendhran Parthasarathy and the Manohar will going to appreciate that. When we started our journey of uploading a purchase and sales statement in 2014, I'll tell you, Mr. Kamal Aggarwal, we started in 2014 uploading of purchase and sales statement, 10 statements under all like exports, imports, local purchase, local sales, everything we did online. In fact, the dealers were reluctant to do that. But we targeted dealers only who have turnover more than 50 lakh and above. What actually now the government is doing 500 crore and above, 100 crore and above. When we did that, within 9 months, I'm telling you, categorically, we started April 2014. By March 2015, we could able to achieve 94% of the taxpayers are uploading the invoices. That's not a small joke. Why I'm trying to tell you, see, we started hand-holding the dealers, taxpayers for the complaints. See, that is where the investment GST Council has to do. We have to handhold the people. We have to make them to understand. See, this is not a big scale at all. It's just because we are given a portal, we are given the facility, we are given everything. I don't think the taxpayers will going to accept it. We have to tell them this is nothing. It is not a difficult job at all. Why I'm trying to tell you, unless until invoices are properly uploaded, you tell me, Mr. Kamal, how to give a credit? Because the whole GST goes on a principle of credit. It's a credit. We are not asking cash. See, unless until the first person pays the taxes, how the another person get a credit? At least you should upload the invoices. What I'm trying to tell you, I know there are issues, not that, okay, that particular section of burden of proof needs to be addressed. There is a big deviation compared to the earlier laws to the present law. I think the High Court and the Supreme Court will come into picture. When that is addressed, whether my gut feeling, my experience, burden of proof should be co-obligation. It's not just only onto the recipient, it is an obligation on the seller, an obligation on the buyer also. Unless until that is tested, I think the premise of GST of input tax rate itself goes to a toss. So the reason with that, the 5% of capping, whatever it has been done, I think it may be taken a very lenient view over a period of time. Let us look for the better days to come and look into that. I don't think that the government is really interested to make your capital the suffocation and all that. Yes.
I just want to make a couple
of
please,
Kamal.
Sir, we have seen when 26 AS was introduced in income tax.
Yeah.
And those kind of difficulties were there. Now the system is stabilized.
Yeah.
And everybody is able to do this very quite easily. And I think in very soon, GST also will reach that.
Certainly. Yeah.
And also, as you rightly said, what I want to make a suggestion that I'm with you on coexistence of the burden of responsibility, but the primary burden has to be on the supplier. The recipient would have to take a kind of a secondary burden only, because the supplier has the primary responsibility and the recipient does not have any legal mean to enforce compliance.
True.
It is also, sir, possible that wherever there are waybill, and I'm sure that in data analytics, there would be some things are being worked out. And I have seen that Shillong Commissioner's big report, which gives a lot of inputs to GST officers, where there is an invoice which has been raised, but it is not, let's say somebody raise invoice in and generate e-way bill. And if it's not coming in two-way, it doesn't require the recipient to reach out to the government. The government should get that report and go after the supplier in the first place itself.
Yes, certainly. We are, see, in fact, that's a good suggestion. Not only that, last 2 days back itself, we have zeroed on. We spoke with our NIC counterpart and we are working on that. Means to say, whoever have generated 3B, who have filed 3B without 2A, immediately we can flag it. The question is that within 30 days of registration, before filing of the 2B, without filing of the 3B, there are so much of issues are happening. Let us, as you said, as the first measure, let us look into the filing of 3B without 2A. Certainly, we are working on that. That's another issue, what you suggested. It's a good thing. And another, Kamal, I can speak with you off the webinar. Let us see how best we can simplify this process of
more than happy to help, sir. More than happy to help, sir.
Sure.
Sir, sir, is it mandatory to raise e-invoice for exempted goods, taxpayers whose threshold limit exceeds the limit as specified?
Yeah. See here under e-invoice, one should understand it is aggregate turnover, annual aggregate turnover preceding 3 years. Means in aggregate turnover, even exempted turnover also becomes a part of it. Taxable turnover also becomes a part of it. So even put together means to say, even if there is a B2C transaction, if it is 450 crores, only 50 crores are taxable. If it is B2B, even such people also have to come for e-invoicing. Please remember that. One lapse is there in this. If the current year, one person asked me in the text yesterday, so in the present current year 2020-21, my turnover is more than 100 crore. Can I have to register for e-invoicing? If you look at the notification, I don't remember the notification. He speaks about the previous 3 years. In fact, if you look at our EU Pass journey, we said current and previous. Only a small amendment, I think it's to be required. I think for them, they who have crosses 100 crore in this year, the invoice portal is not enabled. I think there will be some corrections will happen to that. It is only to the preceding, whether it's exempted, taxable, whatever it is. If it is more than 500 crores, even all such distinct PAN holders have to generate e-invoice.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. The complications in availing ITC is genuinely because of not continuing GSTR 2 of accept, reject, pending. So why can't it can be continued? It has been asked by Rajendra Babu Govindaswamy.
Yes, I really happy to note that at least some of the taxpayers they have understood the importance of GSTR 2. And in fact, when we rolled out GST during 2017, we thought that 3B will go off on fine day. We never thought 3B is going to remain forever. The reason is that 3B is a ledger. GST 1 is an invoice. Okay, GST 2 is another invoice uploaded by the recipient. My dear friends, remember, okay, that was a good, the premise we started with the GST. For some reason, it has taken a backseat. Let's not worry about that particular what has happened in the past. Let's look at the future. Means to say, now today's 100 crore and above is the e-invoice. I think 50 crore and above may come from April. And once it makes optional to all the taxpayers, as I addressed in my, as a chairman's address in the beginning, you please remember, you may not require GSTR 1, you may not require GSTR 2, you may not require GSTR 3B, you may not require many returns at all under the GST. That's what my gut feeling. Let us go for the 2021. Let us try to stabilize. You please press. I request all the tax practitioners to press the council, make it mandatory to each and every taxpayer, let it be B2B or B2C. That day, I'm telling you, my dear friends, there's so much of issues for compliance will come to standstill or nil.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So now the question from HT Sudhindra Rao. Rule 88B, taxpayer is not allowed to use ITC in excess of 99% of output tax liability. The dealer is good taxpayer if we see previous year, but due to purchase of heavy capital goods, plant and machinery, if he is going to utilize the input tax credit available in the credit ledger earlier in this rule 88B, since due to COVID-19, the turnover is reduced to heavy investment of machinery and use depreciation. The dealer is under depreciation loss and also not paid the advance income tax.
I can understand that making the 1% of tax is the source of pain for that particular taxpayer, not the 99% of utilization of the credit. I do understand, and it has some exceptions. 86B the rule, 86B rule. Only 1% of the taxable supply in that particular, if the value is more than 50 lakhs of taxable turnover, not for any other like exempted, all such category it has been taken out, and even public sectors and all such been taken out. And also there is a option given to the commissioner of the particular state per se, and we can, if you look into that, you can waive it off that also. I think that also has been given. Please look into that provision, which is not that harsh actually. It is only on 25 to 30,000 taxpayers across this country. We're going to have an effect on that. It's not to all the taxpayers. For some reason, why they have done the council, we'll not deliberate on that. Okay, the measure has been brought. Let us see to that how this particular provision will get rolled out. But there is a smooth options in that particular provision, and given to the commissioner of that particular state to take a call and to see that even that 1% is enabled. I don't think this government wants to scaffold and put every pressure on the taxpayers to see that it is done. I think it is a small pain, not a full pain. I can understand of 1%. Look into that, and concerned state commissioners and the council, they can rise and they can get the redressal on that.
So this is the right time to the trade bodies to represent properly, because it is our duty of the professional to expedite what is the status of law.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, here can you take an application? Sir.
Yes. You can file the application. Commissioners are empowered.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yes. Sir, the next question is QRMP scheme. Prior to the QRMP, we are having both monthly GST R1 and 3B quarterly. Filing R1 and monthly 3B. After coming QRMP, this monthly filing 3B and quarterly R1 continues. Is this facility available? Can the IFF facility applies to these people or not?
See, please understand, let us not have any confusion first and foremost. Let us not have any confusion first and foremost. Quarterly return and monthly payment is for the regular taxpayers. Quarterly returns and monthly payment for the regular taxpayers whose aggregate turnover is less than 5 crore in the annum. Let us understand, which is optional. In this particular scheme, filing of GSTR1 and GST3B is quarterly only. Filing of GSTR1 and GST3B is quarterly only. And payment is only monthly based on fixed amount scheme or whatever the scheme they have. I'll not go to that. In this, because there is a quarterly 3B and the quarterly the one is filing, the government has come out with IFF, Invoice Furnishing Facility Scheme. Invoice Furnishing Facility Scheme, the reason is that if these taxpayers, they opt for QRMP, they have a facility to upload their invoices monthly, so that such the data what is uploaded, the recipient, if he is not a QRMP or if he is a regular taxpayer with monthly returns and monthly tax payment, for that particular guy, getting a credit is not a difficulty. I'll repeat once again, QRMP scheme, it is filing of GST3B and GST1 is quarterly. Only they have to do a invoice furnishing facility, uploading of the invoices, so that the recipient will not put into problem of getting a credit. This is a very simple way of putting it. And opting this QRMP also, even for example, now the January, February, March, already there is a still time, I think for December, till October, November, they should have filed a return, and December, the system has sent one message, you can opt or not and all that. Even for the next quarter also, you can start before April. So for every quarter, that option is open. Please understand, it is less than 5 crore aggregate turnover. As a pan aggregate turnover, means to say, I have a turnover 5 crore across the country, okay, which is more than 5 crore, whereas less than 1 crore I have in state of Karnataka. In state of Karnataka, I can go for QRMP. In some other state, I did not go for QRMP. That option also is there. It is based on the PAN based, but the scheme is based on the aggregate turnover. That one should understand. Okay. I think I am clear, Kamal, on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. IFF and both are optional. Only when there is an opting for QRMP, then IFF facility is availed.
See, if you ask me personal capacity, not as an officer, I don't think many will go for QRMP.
Yeah.
Simple. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, cancel of registration in case of output tax turnover is declared more compared to declaration in the GSTR 3B for the month. Here, in January, February, March, the dealer may amend his previous turnover from April to December in case of R1 short declared. Then, in such cases, R1 turnover is more compared to 3B for that month. What to do in such case? Example, in some case, R1
Shreendhran
and 3B
Parthasarathy,
have
understood. I want to make a very clarity in that particular
What
aspect.
is the month?
See, always we are comparing oranges or apples. Apple is a GSTR 1, whereas oranges are GSTR 3B. It is little sour, not that easy to, whereas compared to Apple. Why I'm trying to tell you this, 3B is a ledger. Please understand, we know as a department, you also know as a taxpayer, you also know as a taxpayer, you also know as a consultant, how they accommodate the turnover in 3B. I don't want to say more than this. I don't want to say anything more than this. Some taxpayer will come and say, sir, I have left out this, okay, we'll add here. We left out here, we'll add here. But it can't be done in GSTR 1. The why I'm trying to tell you, see, this kind of, as Kamal Aggarwal said, based on Guwahati or Assam Commissionerate suggestions, this is another one good suggestion. The reason is that when 3B is, say, input tax in 3B is more, whereas in input tax in your GST 2A is less, what it means? Means 3B is being doctored. See, the 3B is doctored. 2A is not doctored because 2A is auto-popped to GST 1. Why I'm trying to address all the taxpayers and the officers or the consultant, be careful about what you're filling in GST 3B. Please be careful. What you're filling in 3B, particularly 3B, what you're filling about input tax, you should be very careful. Whereas GST 1, it doesn't filter out any data. The 2L get auto-populated. That's the reason that kind of anomaly of being given this 110, 112021 we are given for cancellation. Even that kind of a differences, the power has been given to proper officer to do so. But that has to be done with due diligence, as Kamal said very clearly, without giving a notice, without asking for a hearing. If that is cancelled, you have always have a role to play for asking for redressal. Okay, there one has to be very careful of that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, Yadav Balaji has asked one question. While doing GST registration, PAN and Aadhaar name is mismatching. In first name and many cases is mismatching, facing issue to do registration. Without this taking to approval 21 days, is there any way to get approval soon?
Yeah. See, the one as I understood in the field experience, what I got it from the feedback, when they're giving an Aadhaar number for Aadhaar, when they're giving their mobile number for Aadhaar, that will be different. When they're giving mobile number for PAN, that will be different. Because of these kind of mismatches, Aadhaar authentication is not happening. Please see to that, whatever the mobile number you're given to the PAN, whatever the mobile number you're given to the Aadhaar, you always have the time to rectify. Only amendment you can't do about your photo. Because I went to Aadhaar center to amend my many things, but they said your photo can't be changed. That will be there as we have taken in 2011. Okay, still that. Because, see, I'm also a taxpayer. I'm also a customer, as a citizen, as an officer. Also, I should know what are the nuances of that particular thing. Please look into that. And honestly, because of Aadhaar authentication, our work it has become more now. The reason is that, see, more non-Aadhaar authentications are coming more rather than Aadhaar authentication. See, we brought that to see that some measure of frauds are minimized, but it is adding additional load onto the officers for the field verification, which actually it is not good for ease of doing business. We should reduce the field verifications rather. I request the practitioners community, whenever they are asking for their the registration for the taxpayers, ask them their PAN number and the Aadhaar number is properly updated with the respective mobile number. That's the reason. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
One more point, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, we will take. Sir, we will clear the questions here. Huh?
Yeah.
Sir, Shambhunath has texted here. So thank you for making us more attentive. So Kamal sir, thank you, sir. So Ashok Chawla has sent, right to hear is the fundamental right of one and all, even the smallest of the aspect where more than one stakeholder is involved. Hence, it must be there always. In Karnataka, if leading this key concern for GST assesses, it will definitely be addressed. It has been given by Ashok Chawla. Then Rajkumar has sent his text here. In one way, government is giving relaxation to small taxpayers to file GSTR1 quarterly. But in other way, government is expecting not to avail input tax credit by receiver just because of not availed in 2A. Please note, before quarter end, we must have paid tax to our supplier. When government is insisting 3B on monthly, why can't think about R1 also, so that there will be no gap between supplier and receiver? Sir.
I think already we addressed that particular question. There's nothing, no bar on the taxpayer, the person to upload the invoices under the portal. By uploading invoice under the portal, I think there'll be no issue for the recipient, whether it is if he is in monthly taxpayer, there should not be a problem. Yeah.
Sir, one among our panelists has asked one question, Sunil Minochaji. Sir, in the case of summons, the officer requires the recipient to divulge details of name and address of the banks of supplier in which the consideration has been credited in respect of the claim of ITC availed by the recipient, failing which the ITC claim has to be deposited with interest and 15% penalty. This situation occurs because of supplier is non-existent in 2021 but existed in 17-18. How to address this issue, and how can a genuine buyer get out of this imbroglio where all provisions of 16(1)(2) were fulfilled?
I think Kamal can address from his perspective, then I can add on to my perspective what it is. Okay.
Yeah, sir, this is, see, I think this is a genuine request from the tax department that if you have actually made the payment, you should have no difficulty in supplying that information to the department, so that by through bank and other means, because in case of a non-existent supplier, it would be department endeavor to reach out to that supplier. And if you can provide that information, it is only going to help ultimately eliminate these kind of fraudsters. In addition, the payment, establishment of payment to the supplier is also a requirement under section 16, and that you can only do if you have a bank details also. So what we are looking at, and as I rightly said by Dr. Murli also, it is a co-ownership of ensuring that government also gets the revenue and the smooth credit is availed. Now, 2A, somebody said not by just appearing in 2A. We shouldn't say it's 2A is just a statement produced by some action. It is actually evidence of government receiving that tax. So it is not just a statement. It is an evidence of payment of tax by the supplier. And that is a substantial document. We should not look at just an evidence, just a statement. So I think a little more discipline in reconciling 2A with our purchase register and reaching out to the supplier in time, that would eliminate a lot of these difficulties.
No, that's true, Kamal sir. In fact, if you can look at the takeaway from the GST is GST compliance rating we wanted to implement during the initial phase because of so many reasons it has not happened. By that GST compliance rating, if it would have been in place by this time, I think many genuine taxpayers would have known from whom to buy and whom not to buy and all that. Okay, there is a gap in so many aspects of implementation. I'll not go to that. Well, as Kamal said, It is a obligation on the recipient also, whether you are doing a good business with the right person or not. That I know how the frauds are happening, and if you have fulfilled all the aspects of section 16.2, if I can 16.1 to whatever it is, like you have an invoice, you made the payment, you have the movement of goods picture, and all the four cardinal principles which you have established. I don't think the tax officer can insist more than that. See, if it is more than that, then only the next course is appellate, because without appeal, you can't expect the all tax officers to understand the nuances of all that. Is there is a issue, you will speak with the next level officers, and that can be addressed. Not that, okay, say suddenly as a recipient, you will show all the bank statements, which are where the payments are made. Every details will be there. Movement of goods will be there. Only movement, the receipt of the services can't be established. At least with the movement of goods, e-way bill is there. You have making the payment. You have the payment details, bank voucher details are there. I think with all those details, I don't think there should be a denial of input as my, because I worked in appellate also for some time and as an adjudicating authority. And let us see how it takes it further forward.
I have advised many of my clients to install video cameras, and whenever there is a lorry enters in their factory premises, a video is recorded with a lorry number, and when there is a unloading of the goods, that is also video recorded. And in fact, in a works contract company which has more than 140 sites, we have ensured that there is a videography being done. That video is recorded and retained of that with the lorry number and the material being unloaded, and so that we have a sufficient evidence to these tax officers that actually we have received the goods.
Yes, that's a very good input what you have given, Mr. Kamal. I'll say from my side, our side, our officers, we investigate fraudsters. When they say e-way bill, we know how the fraud's happening. When we detain a consignment, when they come out with any reply, we go to places where actually transshipment has happened. We'll go to the public authorities' CCTV footages. We'll record that, just see that whether it is transshipment has happened or not. The reason is that, as you said very clearly, we have technology to make use of it. Not that each and every case has to be done. When you know some supplier is a mischievous fellow, the recipient certainly can take hold of such kind of activity. We can prove beyond your doubt. Even the courts will recognize such kind of an thing, that I think court will come to the help and say that, yes, you please allow the credit for that. And another small insight I have, I think it's a good time to share with you people. If people can press upon the council, see, everything can't be done from the internal side only. What I mean to say, see, we are taking the PAN number, we are taking the Aadhaar number, what not we are taking. Instead of taking everything, also there are fraudsters. I'll tell you, as I was making a registration, when I wanted to take one insurance from the ICICI bank. I was trying to take an ICICI bank. Why I'm trying to tell you, I think you people can flag this to the council. It's one of the good measures we can decrease the fraudster. Means to say, in that ICICI, the insurer, you will take not only our details, every details of the medical certificate will take. Even I am on a treadmill, they take the photograph of the treadmill, live photograph, they will give it to their people. And finally, the company taking all the data, I'm telling you, my dear friend, before giving the insurance, they will send a link. They will send a link to your mobile number, registered mobile number. In 30 seconds, you have to tell the app will open. There will be video like webinar, it is going to open. There you have to tell, I am so-and-so, my name is so-and-so, this is the details I have declared. Means to say, it is pakka authenticated document to say that he is a person who is taking registration. I'm telling you, my dear friends, I request one and all, it's my personal request, you please insist on the council, when an insurance company is one of the taxpayer can do diligently to give a insurance to a particular person, why a GST registration should not be done with that particular due diligence. When the technology is available, 30 seconds of video can reduce the fraud, and your input tax rate claim also can be genuinely given. That's what I mean to say. I think, please...
Sir, you are right, sir.
Represent this.
For digital signature certificate, now that 45 seconds video is mandatory. So
yeah,
that can be that can be linked, sir. Definitely, you have given a good idea, sir.
Exactly. When the DSC can be, to take a DSC, you need a video. To
Yes.
take a GST, why you should not need a video, please?
Yes,
Okay,
definitely,
please
sir.
suggest and let the council can go and understand what's happening in the insurance companies and the DSC details. Let them see the way I'm trying to tell you. Someone was asking me, the Department of Revenue, when you file the income tax return, and on acknowledgement, you'll get an IP address from which this one portal it has been uploaded. We are also trying to enable an e-way bill from which portal e-way bill is generated. See, we are also thinking many aspects of it, and this kind of one registration video, I'm telling you, my dear friend, because each and every taxpayer nowadays is having a smartphone. Okay, please understand this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And even I want to share one information here. Murali Krishna sir actually told also on that day, why can't a e-way bill be generated with an OTP of the recipient so that it forms the part of the offer and the acceptance?
Yes.
So automatically there will be a documentation. Once the recipient gets the goods unloaded, if he uploads the details, automatically it will give him the total authenticity of his receipt and other things. Murali Krishna sir actually has appraised that one, and we have referred that also to the council, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So GST is going to become a guaranteed and secured transaction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting guaranteed secure transaction.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
even in many African countries, 100% invoices are generated through, as we call it, e-way bill now, e-invoicing now. In small African countries, which we call LDC, least developed countries, even if you go to a barber shop, you get an invoice which is completely synchronized with their GST department. So every invoice which is being generated, it comes from that system only. Ultimately, we are a large company with lot of challenges in terms of electricity and other stuff, but we are definitely much ahead of those least developed countries, and that is the ultimate objective that we have to reach.
True, sir. Kamal sir, in that aspect, in 2009, myself and NIS SIO and another FKCA president, another BL official, we went to Nairobi, Kenya,
Oh, yeah.
2009.
Yes.
We made a study of electronic tax register during at that time. Particularly, it is very, very useful for the B2C transactions.
Yes.
Particularly the small like liquor shops, restaurants, barber shop. It's a very good app. I only see the question is that we know what has to be done. The policy people has to implement that, have to monitor it, and that's one way of it. That's what I was trying to tell you. Once is e-invoicing, that's the ultimate. If it becomes for all transactions by 2021, 2023, I'm telling you, all these kind of input tax issues and 5% of capping and 7 days of registration, many things can be taken off. That's what my big belief in that. Yeah.
Sir, every taxpayer should be allowed an option that if he want to raise 100% of his invoices on e-invoices, regardless of his level of turnover, he should be allowed to do that.
True, sir. That is what I mean to say. See, you make mandatory for certain taxpayers who have 50 crore and above. For all others, you make optional. Once you make optional, if it is 50 crore and above mandatory, I'll tell you, like e-way bill, if it is more than 50,000 rupees is mandatory, whereas less than 50 is not mandatory. Non-mandated taxpayers, 32% are generating e-way bill. 32%. So that is the takeaway I can say. If you make it optional, many people will come and say, end of the day, I'm saying when I'm generating invoice, whether it is here or there, I don't mind. Yeah.
Sir,
Thank you.
can I share my experience?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yes, sir. I went to Australia, sir. My son is there. I purchased a small keychain of $1. I just give a $1 and it came out. The shopkeeper called me over here. Sir, you must take my invoice. If I don't issue an invoice, the first time penalty is $50,000 US, sir. So the government will come to know at the evening how much tax is collected per day, sir. So that should be mandatory. It should be made, sir.
Yes, understood. Yeah,
Yes.
Good. Thank you for
Should be there, sir. That should be
Yeah.
there. That should be there, sir.
Yeah.
Even $1, sir. $1.
True.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Even Ashok Chawla ji has said Singapore is also a best example.
Certainly,
And
we have the. I'll tell you. Always we try to think of good things, but the question is that always we should remember. See, Singapore, we are 200 officers have visited Singapore to understand how the GST has been implemented, how it is going through that. I am the first the tour coordinator for all the projects, and I have seen the Singapore example and all that. Yes, we can make it Singapore. At the end of the day, basically, that attitude has to become. Without that attitude, we can't change anything, my dear friends. I'm telling you. And our scale and their scale is a big change that are there. See, for 2021, they are already announced what is the rate of tax to be there. Now it is 7%. They want to raise to 9% in 2021. Yeah, this year. When 2018 I went, it was 7%. Now they want to do it for 9%. They announced 2 years in advance. See, that is the way of tax administration complaint. It will come. It takes time. Being, as Kamal said, being such a larger, diverse country we have and diverse structure we have, it takes time. It's only a matter of time. That's it.
Rightly said, Murali Krishna sir. Technology use is no more a choice, but a way to stay relevant in present time. Complemented by Ashok Chawlaji. Sir, and next our KV Srinivasa has sent one question. Finally, same did and has gone to the officer. Okay, that delay. So get the things done, which delayed the process by more than 15 days. Okay, that has been answered. Okay. Mayur Minijigi has requested, why can't we defer this 1% cash payment scheme because of this situation and can represent to the government? He has asked, sir.
I think that the exclusion should take care of most of the genuine taxpayer. I personally believe that a person and a business entity who is very much in existence, that should not face any trouble in meeting this 1%. The 1% is a very good move. It is so designed with the exclusion to take care of the fraudulent people who are not willing to pay even 0.00001% in cash. So 1% cash is a very minimum payment. And if you look at the exclusion, even if some partner or director has paid income tax of 1 lakh rupee, now can you imagine somebody having 6 crore of turnover, because that's a 50 lakh per month, has not paid even 1 lakh income tax in last 2 years? Now, because if something has not been done, if he is not falling in that exclusion, he is actually want to remain out of system. And then commissioner has been given power, there is a genuine business difficulty, or there is a huge amount of capital goods, import and other stuff, then he can always go to the commissioner, explain his case and get a leeway.
Certainly. Yeah, that is always there. That's not a very hard provision, as you said. It's a win-win provision actually.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The last question, sir. The advance received from customer is taxable under GST. My question is, do I need to add advance received from customer as a part of my aggregate turnover while computing the threshold limit for e-invoice?
No, I think that has been taken out earlier. In the initial year, it was there. I think it was not there as of now. And moreover, many services are out of the purview of e-invoicing as of now, particularly banking, insurance, and GTA, and even multiplex. And still, if I can name 1 or 2 services, still it has not been mandated all such people. So I think they can take a shelter under that particular thing, and they will not come into the ambit of. But if they can start doing e-invoicing, there should not be any problem at all. See, that's also one should understand. Okay, if the e-invoice portal enables them, I'll repeat once again, e-invoice1.gst.go.in, there is an enabling provision also. If they have not enabled, you can go there, you can enable yourself. If it enables, there's nothing wrong in you generating e-invoice. There's a simple mode of API based. Okay, it will be difficult, don't do that. There's a bulk upload that you can do by end of the day. So, but there is a very good tool, everything is available. Even they come out with a small tool, Excel based tool also. It's in a trial version. People can use it. Once they come out of that, I think you not go to ERP, now you not go to GSP. Certainly you people can do on your own. Okay.
Sir, e-invoicing is not difficult at all. It's extremely smooth. It's actually smooth, very smooth.
Yes, sir.
Minocha, sir, you want to say something?
Sir, I just had a little concern in regard to the question which I had raised, sir, that the bank particulars details in a summons case is required from a recipient to divulge details of the supplier's bank details. How can a person, sir, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
you are
How
yes,
can,
you
audible.
are audible.
how can a person who has made the payment to the supplier, and the supplier may be having 10 bank accounts, 5 accounts, 6 accounts, and in which bank he has deposited that amount, unless it's an RTGS or a NEFT payment, how can the check payment made by by a recipient, a person can come to know that where
And
the supplier has
I'll
deposited?
just want to
How can the,
add on to your, see, an officer is asking some information, how you made the payment. See,
no, it's
one
not that,
second,
sir.
I'll just add on to that. See, the
Okay.
question is that you are looking at a standalone basis. The state is looking at a different perspective altogether. Whatever the
Okay.
questions they have raised, only simple thing that giving adducing the adducents, what's wrong in that? If you can give how they made the payment details, through which bank you made the payment details, it is further to the concerned officer to find out whether the particular person, that is a further investigation going to take it place. I don't think, if it is a very difficult of giving your data, you tell us it's difficult of giving your data. But just sharing the information, how you made the payment, I think there should not be any problem. I feel, Mr. Kamal.
Yeah, I think, see, Sunil ji, as you rightly said, if there is a RTGS or NEFT, that bank account detail of the supplier would be readily available. So there
Yes.
should be no difficulty in you sharing it. Once you have made a payment through check, I understand you may not have information about the supplier's bank account. You can always say that, sir, I made a payment of check and this is the check number that has been cleared. If you want, you can write to my bank manager and he will
Exactly.
provide that information.
That's it. It's a known transaction.
Yeah.
He cannot insist upon the name of the bank in which the person has deposited the checks. That
Sir,
he
if
So
cannot
you
you
can
insist.
ask
want
the
to,
same fundamental question, my dear. There's nothing wrong. That's a transparent transaction what you have made.
Okay.
See, from which bank you have made, you give me the account details. Further, the officer will track that particular details. It's not a problem at all.
Right, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you, KV Srinivasa had added one thing. Similarly, maybe the DD, how can be details or cannot also be given. So it can
My
be
dear
written to
friend,
the bank
DD, I'll
manager.
tell you 1 second. I
Bank
think
manager.
this KV Srinivasa, some of the people who are asking these questions, no, they should be brought into our investigation team, and we should try to identify how to identify fraudsters. You don't
Yes.
know how actually the cash is transacted, how the payment is done, and everyone knows about it. See, let us not go to those finer details of it. Let us not get into the shielding some fraudsters. Please, I request you. If you're a genuine person, you give the details. What's wrong in that? I couldn't understand why you people are trying to shield somebody else. Okay.
Yes, sir.
absolutely.
So
See, all frauds eat up my pie actually.
Yeah.
If somebody is evading tax, government is getting what they want. So ultimately, I end up paying more tax if somebody is not paying.
You're right. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Mr. Kamal. Honestly, that is a question I'll tell you. Your input tax is nothing but already tax is paid to the state. Yes, input tax the state already paid. By giving a trial, I know. See, I don't want to divulge many issues. What happened in the back end and all that. Everyone knows what it is. Let us not go to that. Let us try to work how to improve the system, how to make the compliances more. As I said, guaranteed secure tax administration. Let us do that. Okay.
KV Srinivasa has happily agreed to ready and join you, sir.
Yeah, please let him come. Okay.
Sir, now it is time to our BT Manohar, sir, to have his observation remarks, final observation remarks. Manohar, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sridhar. I was observing very keenly on the notes of Mr. B.V. Murali Krishna and Mr. Kamalji. These are all practical problems every day I get from over my phone. And every issue will be taken up with the government and the department is concerned. As far as the blockage of e-way bill and the 1% of tax to be paid, and the other one issue that fixing a what is it, camera,
CCTV.
CCTV, And another one is regarding that in taking one mobile, what is it?
OTP.
Footage,
No, no.
footage,
No,
footage.
for
OTP. OTP.
no. Regarding that insurance, this one, videography for at the
Video
time of
footage.
granting. Yeah, all these things are in our memorandum points what we are going to submit to the government, and more so, this is not a one-day affair. It is there since 1957 when sales tax was started. We have experience, but to be very clear with all the participants here, even the trade and industry have learned many things. They have educated. They got awareness. And you can make out that with a simple statistics, say, from our own state, where we were 4,75,000 to 5 lakh dealers. Today, we are about 9 lakh dealers in only 40 months. So that means to say, all are becoming alert. Government support is there. And as Mr. Kamal has rightly said, I endorse that because not because that he is speaking for trade and industry. The true facts are that we should be very clear in our representation. If it goes beyond the frame of law by any of the officer concerned administering it, if it is beyond law, that has to be brought to the notice of the highest authority and see that what best government could support us. This simple observation, I am thankful to Mr. Shreendhar for this opportunity, and I am thankful to Mr. Kamal for his participation here, supporting in the sense, supporting for the reforms, supporting for the government to understand the genuine taxpayers' problems, and Dr. B.V. Murali Krishna for his elusive comments and his intelligent way of taking dealer and the department together. God bless you.
Thank you, Anandal. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
So now,
I just want to say I have interacted with many officers in the past. I've been part of the Institute of Chartered Accountants committee also on indirect taxes. I've yet to come across such a open and informed officer as Dr. Murali Krishnan. I salute to you, sir. And I believe if
thank you.
Logistically,
very much thank you.
Murali Krishna sir has given a thought process to us. We are not only the regulators, I say, we are also the facilitators.
Yeah. And I look forward, we may be having kind of 3,000 kilometer distance between us. I'm in Delhi, he's in Bangalore, I guess.
Distance doesn't matter, Kamal sir.
Yeah, technology has evolved, and I have lots and lots of inputs which I would like to share with him.
Sure.
Which would, I'm sure, would go a long way in identifying the bad apples out of the lot.
Yeah, true, sir. We'll do it, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's really an honor for me to be a part of this panel, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now it is time to Mr. Ashwin Tanna ji. So to give the vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you very much for host book, for nice event. First of all, very thank you.
We are beginning diligently. We have begun the new year 2021.
That's correct, sir. Very correct. Very correct. I am thankful to Chairman Sri B.V. Murali Krishnan. Today is a star line for us, who has removed so many dust, what we are having, so many black patches. He has cleared everything, and he has really born this thing for query solution, which we are in mind for a long time. He has cleared all the queries, sir, all the query. Then B.T. Manohar sir, opinion and blessing, it was a very good. And our star star speaker, Kamal Aggarwal ji, I'm heavily thankful to you. I'm really heavily thankful to you, sir.
And he is your past associate also, I think, in ENY.
Then we will welcome with the most garlands, sir. Heavy garlands, sir. Heavy garlands, sir.
I've been part of all Big Four, sir. All four of them.
Yes. And our none and the last, sir, the coordinator, Shreendhran sir, who has done a very good coordination.
Huge round of applause for him.
Yes, sir. And
And Deputy Chairman Minocha sir is also there.
yes, sir, Deputy Chairman Minocha sir. And
Sudhindra Rao.
lastly, Shreendhran Rao also there. He is also putting a very good clumsy query also. And Murli Manohar sir has given a very good answer for that also, sir. And lastly, but not least, 100+ participation. Without that, the program would have not got so success, sir. And again, I am giving very much thanks on behalf of the CTPI to Murli Krishnan, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the vibrant participants, Mr. Ashok Chawla ji and Raghavendra Bhatia ji, so Udyavar Raghavendra ji and many more, Nallapandi ji, Ganeshan and KV Srinivas, Captain Thomas Kurian, Chakraramana, Hiremat, Rawat, one and all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
one and all.
Thank you.
Guruji, kindly bless us. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Namaste, one and all. Happy day.
सभी
Happy day.
का
Happy New
दिन
Year.
शुभ हो, सर. सभी का दिन शुभ हो.
Calendar 2021 शुभ शुभ हो.
पूरा साल शुभ हो.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Okay.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste, sir.
Okay, madam. Shall we leave, madam?